Hey everybody, how y'all been? It's been a minute. Not to say I ain't been working on anything new for the channel, but with Mortal Kombat 1 dropping, I disappeared off the face of the earth. Just know, come Monday, you'll see why. But for now, let's get right into it. This is the second to last page of chapter 2, where after evading Sekhmet, binding her in this trap, Persephone and Artemis regrouped to come up with a plan. Not a very good plan, but just a plan all in general. Artemis decides that now that she has her second win and the sun's coming up, she can check her on herself. Talking about she was just winded and it was late. That's why it took them a while to get her to this point, but maybe it's just ego talking, or maybe she's really that confident that she can take down Sekhmet by herself. That remains to be seen within the next chapter. I remember writing this off in a script, whether I wanted it to continue to be like a 2-on-1 versus the giant Sekhmet, or just leave it at a 1 versus 1 leading into the next chapter. Also, when I do these, I don't know if I mentioned it before on the channel, probably have, but these are more like a choose your own adventure style comics when I go into writing the script. Essentially, I do polls on my Instagram, whichever the option wins based on the followers. I won't incorporate that into the script. So for instance, who would appear in the chapter? It was between Medusa, Persephone, or Helios. And Persephone won, I want to say by a landslide, because it was almost tied between her and Medusa until the very last minute. And it would have been a completely different script. Yeah. That remains something I think I will continue going forward, at least for this first volume of the story. It was really up to me to decide how this was going to end, with it being Persephone taking the survivors, Moira, and Squish to safety while Artemis gets ready for the next round, so to speak. With them out of the way, essentially Artemis doesn't need to hold back, or should she, in that she is part of a divine lineage, so is Persephone, but they each played to their own strengths, some of which I intend on exploring later on, probably in a one shot or something, maybe just a silly little panel like I did the side story last week. For those of you that are engaged in web comics, where do you prefer to read them from? Whether it be webtoons or tapas? Personally, I've been uploading the tapas in a single page every other week when I remember to upload them. But I do have these for sale as digital PDFs on my websites, which are leaking about, shameless plug. But I've been thinking of just getting my own personal website and uploading these pages. That way you can read them from the beginning to end, be caught up whenever I drop these episodes, continuing the story, as opposed to just, I don't know, whatever this is right now. third of the way through rendering chapter 3, which is a long one, so bear with me. But I do have a inkling of an idea on where I can begin chapter 4. I think I'm gonna cap this arc off at a chapter 6 or 7, or like a introductory arc, like the main character Celeste, Artemis, where those two would eventually meet or end up in this section of the story. It's part like the grand outline of what I got envisioned. It's a little push and pull, especially with the audience when I do these polls. Keeps it interesting, at least for me. Like, where I think they might go one week, they decide something completely different I didn't think they would jive with. Like, for instance, I'll also vote in these polls just like on my own personal page, and I voted for Bastet to show up instead of Sekhmet, but Sekhmet won by a landslide. Like, it wasn't a chance. Like, Bastet got probably the least amount of votes next to Mutt. It was Sekhmet, Hathor, Mutt, and then Bastet. So with that being in order, I decided to arrange this arc's antagonist via Sekhmet, Hathor, Mutt, and Bastet. So after Sekhmet's all dealt with, you get to see Hathor, and then after you've been introduced to her, the later two will come on, and eventually you make your way all the way to Ra, because these are the eyes of Ra, and this one is one of Wrath, personification of Wrath, so to speak. Week's upload, check it out if you haven't. I've been thinking about doing like more little short stories in between these chapters, like something weekly where I can just get something out, some interactions between characters that we haven't seen yet, but they know each other, that I haven't fully explored yet but want to. Just the story takes precedent first, so these would be like instances between arcs, so like before the story even happened, like just bits and pieces of lore, background, something to feed the narrative or like give the audience something to latch on to when they think about this character that they haven't seen in the main story yet. It's something to chew on. But we're nearing the end of this video, so stay tuned for next week's uploads. Monday we're going over some fan art that I did based off Melina, because that's my main. And if you had the displeasure of playing me online, I'm sorry but not sorry. But that's going to be all for this week's video. Again, thanks for watching. Stay rotten. Peace.